everybody. Good morning. Okay, so it is a very, very busy morning, that's for sure. We're going to do a couple different things here. And actually, I have been like crazy super busy this morning. And you'll probably see me again this afternoon. Okay, so yeah, it's a little scattery this morning because I just finished getting back from gleaning, which if you're not familiar with gleaning, then that is it's going to people's houses that have fruit on the ground. And then you pick up the fruit so that the bears don't come. Hey, Darlene, good morning. Yeah, so I just finished coming back from gleaning, and that's where people volunteer and they go and they pick up fruit that's on the ground so that the hey, good morning, Jane. Hi. So yeah, so you go pick up fruit off the ground from homeowners that can't pick their own fruit, and or for whatever reason, and then the fruit falls off the trees and then it's on the ground and then it attracts the bears. And you know, we have such a problem with bears around here that that we volunteer to go and we pick up all the fruit from the ground and then we pick the tree. And then the way it works is that a third of the fruit that we pick is it goes to the owners, but often they don't want it because they usually, not always, but usually already pick their own fruit off their own tree. But anyway, typically a third goes to the owners, a third goes to charity, and then a third gets split between the gleaners, whoever the gleaners are, however many there are. So just got back from a plum one and it was awesome. So I literally just climbed out of a plum tree like 10 minutes ago and drove home real fast. And but we have a very exciting, hey Kate, how you doing? Hi. We have a very exciting day because I have lots of things to do. And so I'm going to do a couple of things with you guys here. And then I have relatives coming over to do the famous pickled beets. And so, yeah, so that's exciting. So we're doing that, probably start about 1 o'clock. So in the meantime, I'm cutting up, busy cutting up. I started right away my little cucumbers. And I don't know what variety these are because I don't remember what I planted, but they're short and fat. So I thought, I'm just looking at the seeds here. I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to ferment them, and we'll see how that turns out because I'm going to have quite a few, and I would like to do a really nice sweet pickle recipe that a friend of mine taught me a while back. And so if we do that, then I'll do like I'm going to do today. I'm going to do little snippets of how to do that recipe, just like what I'm going to do today for the beets. So you'll probably see us at one, or probably not. They probably won't want to be a part of it. But anyway, I'm going to I'll show you guys the beet, basic process of the beet recipe. So I'm not really sure. I should have actually tried these because I didn't want to skin them, so to speak, but let me just see how tough the skins are. Not bad, because they're pretty young. So I am going to leave the skins on. The other thing you can do, and I'm sure you guys know way more about this than I do because I'm not an expert on it at all, is to kind of score them so that it breaks up the skins. Like you could use a fork. You could use something like this thing here, you know, and just, if I can remember how to use this thing, I think it flips around. Oh, there we go. I kind of had it upside down. But anyway, you could do that and just score it so that it will just kind of cut the skin a little bit so that it's not, if it's a thick skinned cucumber, so a lot of people might do that. I don't really want to do that because these are they're pretty tender. And I'm definitely using the wrong knife here because I'm really, really distracted because I have so many things going on. The beets are boiling as we speak. Okay, so I'm going to leave a few of these big, and this is like super simple recipe, you guys, like way super, super simple. We're just going to ferment these, and so it's going to be a little bit different than a standard pickle, because my point is not to have it taste like a dill pickle. What I want to do is I want to have it really healthy and fermented so that it has the probiotics and the the beneficial bacteria. So what I'm going to do is I'm adding garlic, and I'm just trying to break this little guy open, and then I'm going to add chili peppers. So yeah, so it's going to be a little bit different than the pickled beets. So I'm going to take the garlic and just, I don't know, do it in thirds, just to break open that surface for it to absorb. And I'm going to put this in the bottom. Can you guys see this? I don't know if you can see. Whoops, I'm kind of in a rush. I'm in a rush because I want to get to those pickled beets ASAP. Okay, so you're going to put your garlic in the bottom here. And I want them pretty garlicky because the garlic is so antiviral. It is and well, obviously antibacterial, antiviral. It's good for parasites. It's good for all kinds of things, right? So you want to have lots of garlic. I'm going to look for the smaller ones to get those little ones in there. So I did pull up quite a few of my garlic, and I had really beautiful volunteers and babies. So I have, I have 1-year-old garlic babies, and I have 2-year-old garlic babies, and I have 3-year-old garlic babies, and then I have like the real, usually they're really super nice at 4. So I picked a bunch of my 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and they're really nice. Like they're just, they're so fresh and tender that you can use them. They're a little pickier, right? Because they're tiny like this, so it's a little bit of a pain, but still super worth doing, and a really mild flavor depending on what you're going to do with them. Okay, so I've got 3 cloves in here. We're going to add our I always pile so much stuff on the table in case I change my mind and want to add something or do something else. And I know, oh, they're right in front of me. Too close. It's too close for me to see, right? You guys already know I can't see with my glasses and I can't see without them. And for sure with that, it was right beside the garlic. So we're going to add a teaspoon. Because I want these pretty spicy, so I'm actually gonna give 1 jar a full level teaspoon of the chili peppers. So I want to see how that works, and then I'll go milder for the next one. So yeah, so the idea is to kind of, you don't want to put them kind of matching, because then the flavors and the juice won't get in between. So you want to mix them up a bit, but at the same time, you want them stuffed right in there super tight, because when you're fermenting anything, you want to make sure that liquid, that brine, the saltwater brine, is over your vegetables, because otherwise it will definitely mold. And so we've spoken about this before, about the fermenting process, and that the fermentation, pretty much any fermentation, is going to it's going to get that little SCOBY on top, right? That little, you know, kind of a, it's actually called a calm, but it's like a little film over top. And so quite often that will happen anyways. And, you know, there's so many different rules of thumb for fermenting. Most people that have been fermenting for years and years say, oh, you just wipe that stuff off and keep eating, you know, and it won't hurt you. And it's not a, dangerous mold or anything like that. But if you know, for people that are just starting out, if you smell it and it smells like not good, then, you know, my suggestion is to throw it out until you get more experienced, or put it in the compost, until you get a little bit more experience and more comfortable with what you're actually looking at, and what, you know, whether it's just a little SCOBY scum or whether it's an actual mold, you know, or whether it's going bad. So, okay, so you're going to stuff your pickles in like that, like you can see, the garlic and the peppers, and then you stuff them in super tight because we don't want them floating up above the brine. And I've already pre-mixed one brine here. I'm going to give it a little toss because a little bit of salt settled in the bottom. But this is, I'm using a Himalayan sea salt with this, and the basic rule of thumb for fermenting and pickling in a fermentation, you know, for anything you're doing, is going to be like a tablespoon of salt to 1 quart of water. Okay, so that's what I have here, and this is just a simple fermentation. Like if you were making sauerkraut or something like that, then you're going to be actually mixing the salt in with the cabbage and massaging it until it breaks down. But this is just the simple pouring over process. So, you know, so it's going to take a little bit longer to soften. I'm going to give it a couple of taps here, just get the air bubbles out, and then add a little more. So you can do 2 different things with this. You can cover this with a paper towel and elastic, and then just to let the air bubbles out and keep the bugs and the dust out. And or if you're careful and you check it a lot, you can take your canning lid and gently put it on. But the thing is, you have to check this every single day, and sometimes perhaps if it's warm, twice a day, because those bubbles will ferment and they'll come out and they would actually, like, you know, almost explode. So when you open this, it's going to burp, right? Because it's got the lactic acid and all the bubbles is fermenting, so it's going to come up. So if you haven't done this before, my suggestion is to, I don't know if I have an elastic here, right here at the table, but anyway, basically what you're going to do is you're just going to, you could put a little cloth if you want, you know, you could like double up a cheesecloth if you want to, put it over the top, and then just put an elastic on that. Or actually, you know what might work? I don't know if this will work, but yeah, that would work too. So you could just put the ring with the, oh no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work when you pick it up because I just got the top wet. So yeah, I picked it up and shook it, and I just got the paper towel all wet, which is fine for, you know, a couple hours, and then just make sure your water's down a little bit, or don't move it once you put that on there. Okay, excuse me, let's try that again. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to carefully, because I don't want to take the fluid out, because I don't want my cucumbers popping up over the liquid. Okay, and that's another reason that you're going to keep checking this. You're going to check it every single day to make sure that your brine has not gone down below your cucumbers, because if any food is sticking up, it will start to mold. Okay, so I'm going to gently set it there, and I am going to do one more for the people that that just came on. Hi, we're just doing a little fermentation of these wonderful little cucumbers that I got from my garden. They're the little short fatties. So I am gonna grab a different knife here. And so yeah, see, these will be a little bit different because it's got bigger seeds. So I should have actually got these when they were a little tinier. But excuse me, when you have the cucumbers that have these big seeds like this, just throw them in your smoothie because it's just so good for you with all the vitamins and minerals and everything in the cucumber itself. So I might do that with that one because see, this one's going to be that much nicer because it doesn't have the huge seeds in it. So let's check this one out, and we'll do, yeah, this one has a little bit smaller seeds. And the other thing with the fermenting is if you wanted these to stay crisp, which I completely forgot about, and the other day I did have a horseradish leaf here, but right now I don't. But you can add a grape leaf or a horseradish leaf, and it will help your fruit or whatever it is that you're doing, your pickles or your carrots or whatever. It'll help it to them to stay firmer and crisper because of the tannins in the horseradish leaf and the grape leaves. So yeah, so if you wanted to make everything crisper, then you could do that. See, this one has smaller seeds. So I think I'm going to save these big seeds for the smoothie. I might use just the corners and then use these. So you could add whatever seasonings you want to the, you know, to your brine or to your pickling. Like if you were doing, well, obviously you could add dill. I don't really have any dill. I'm not a fan of dill at all. I don't know. It just doesn't really do it for me. But I do have fennel. And so that could be an idea if you liked fennel. Okay, so we're just going to add this into, I'm going to put it in this jar because you can see through it better. Oh my gosh, you can use turmeric. Let's do that. It'll turn it a really beautiful orange color, and it will also offer the anti-inflammatory properties of the turmeric. So the turmeric has the curcumin in it, anti-inflammatory. You know, everybody already knows about all the benefits of the turmeric. You know, as far as being anti-inflammatory, good for arthritis, aches and pains, any kind of inflammation, good for the immune system, good for digestion, you know, just so many things. So I've added 3 or 4 cloves of garlic again. So, and I am going to add the turmeric. And when you add the turmeric, you also always want to add black pepper to activate the turmeric. And the thing is, turmeric it can be a little bitter. You know, when you add it, it carries a bitter flavor. So I'm gonna try and go with half a teaspoon because I don't want these to taste too bittery. Even though when they start to ferment, it's going to take on a vinegar flavor. But I don't really want it to be a bitter vinegar flavor. So we're adding the turmeric, and when you add the turmeric, you always want to add the black pepper to activate the turmeric. And that's why I put so many different things on my table. Let's see, what else would be good? What else would be good? Cinnamon? No, probably not so much. Okay, what do you think, you guys? We've got garlic, we've got black pepper, we've got turmeric. I did chilies in the other one. I could add just a little bit of chili because I love the heat. And you know what? I wonder what it would be like with just a little bit of ginger. So let's do that. We'll experiment. We always love to experiment here. It's always so much fun to, you know, I love trying new things, and it's so much fun to have you guys here hanging out with me, watching me experiment and make mistakes. Okay, so I think that's probably pretty good, you know, just thin slice of ginger. And I will add a little bit of the chilies. And so, looking for the clean spoon here. And I only have a tablespoon. So I'm just going to add what I would consider half a teaspoon. Whereas before, what we did was we added a whole, excuse me, a whole teaspoon. Okay, so chilies, turmeric, black pepper, garlic, and ginger in this one. Okay, so now we're going to get these guys in there and try and get them to where the surface, you know, to where they're not held together like this. You want to turn them around so that they have the ability for the juices and the flavoring to get right in everywhere. So yeah, and I think that I don't know, you know, because I'm not an expert at packing pickles. Not an expert, but I think it's going to work good to have the hey Carolina, hey Maple, hi, good morning. My little comment thing, it wasn't quite working. Hi. So yeah, so we're just putting the cucumbers in here. Oops, it broke. And so now see, that's the thing. When you're fermenting, you always want to make sure that your food, your fruit, or your vegetables don't float up, because if they float up out of the brine, they will mold. So you have to be creative and make sure they're all down under the brine. And that's a nice thing if you're working with you know, cucumbers like this or carrots or something, because they will, you know, they'll cram in there. Okay, so I'll save this one for the smoothie. Oh, I don't know, maybe can I get that in there? But the thing is, you want to check this. Yeah, I can. Okay, so that's good and tight. So you want to check this every day, and if it's warm, you want to check it twice a day, because your liquid will evaporate, and if it does, then it will start to mold. And like I said, I mean, typically you're going to have a little film and a little, you know, it's called a calm, but it's like the mother of a apple cider vinegar, and so it'll have a little film. That's the word I'm looking for, a little film on top. Okay, so again, you're going to do it like this one. Actually, I'm not going to touch that, because the last time I touched it, the liquid came out, and it got the paper towel wet. So you can use a cloth, or you can use a paper towel and an elastic. But what I did that I didn't realize I could do, but I learn things every day thanks to you guys, is put the little ring on. Just make sure that you try not to get the paper towel wet. So okay, so I'm gonna set this here for you guys to see, and set that one there. Okay, so like I say, because they're a whole food, and they're not like a sauerkraut where I've massaged the salt into the cabbage, because that'll break down much faster and it'll ferment much faster. So these guys will be a little slower depending on the weather. If it's warm, they'll ferment sooner, and if it's cooler, it'll take a little bit longer. So you just keep checking them. You know, you can gently pull one out and have a taste, see how you like it, and then make sure that you stuff it back in under the water. So important. So the other thing I have to show you real quick here, because we are going to work on pickling beets this afternoon. The other thing I'm going to show you, super easy, and I think I'll use this bowl because you can probably see into it better. Remember last week we made this fantastic bruschetta. So we made like a tomato bruschetta, and it was really good. And we put it on lettuce, romaine lettuce, and then also you can put it on toast or bread or whatever. So we did the bruschetta thing. And so so I thought, what else can I do with my bruschetta? And it's so nice. Like when I share these things with you guys, I'm always all about saving a little bit of whatever you make, and then you can use that in a different dish later on. Even if you've made a big mistake, you know, most of the time it can go into soup, whatever that mistake is. So we have the bruschetta, and I cooked these beans. These are little black beans. And so we've done lots of videos on the beans and the lectins and why it's so important to soak your beans and rinse them, and soak your beans and rinse them. And so I soaked and rinsed these 3 times yesterday, and then I soaked and rinsed again this morning, and then I put them in the Instant Pot. And then when it removes the lectins, which are the part that's like the indigestible part and the part that causes the gas and the bloating. And I'm not going to go too far into the lectins today because we've talked about lectins on and on and on in other videos. But anyway, so I took them out and then I rinsed them again. So these are the little black beans. And so, and again, whenever you're doing stuff like this, make extra. Okay, so this is just going to be for a little bean salad. So, so I'm going to save half these for soup or whatever, like whatever it is when I'm looking for something extra to add to a meal. But I'm going to take a few, super easy, like crazy. I was thinking, what else can I do with the bruschetta? And so I'm going to add it to the beans, just like that. So the bruschetta has, when we did it last week, you guys are going to have to remember, I know that there's tomatoes in it, and onions and garlic, and other yummy things. If you want to find out what, you're going to have to go back to last week's Facebook Live or my YouTube. And I have about 150 food videos on YouTube, so you can check it out there too. And yeah, and then, oh, I've been told that I clang when I use the spoon, so I'm going to use the, I'll use this one. Okay, still a little clangy, but not as bad. So I'm just going to mix this up with the bruschetta and the beans and kind of let that ferment a bit. And so, yeah, it's nice to have the big bowl to really mix it, and then it'll just start gathering those flavors all day, and then we can put it in this nice little dish, and it will be a really nice little side dish, a little bit of protein, you know, go with your salad and your other vegetables or whatever. And so, yeah, so like super easy. So I've done that kind of thing with like salsa as well. It's all drippy. Yeah, anything that you have like that. I mean, depending on what it is, you can take a sauce or even sometimes like a soup or something, depending on the flavor and the spices, and just mix it in with some beans or something, and then you have like a whole new dish. So there you go. Okay, you have to make it pretty for the pictures. I have tons of pictures on Instagram if you want to see a lot of my cooking. Check out my Instagram. It's full of food pictures. So we have that. So, okay, I'm going to leave you guys because we're going to start doing the beets, and I'm going to put them on now. And so I will, I'll go on live probably around 1-ish while we're doing the pickled beets, and so you can check that out too. Okay, well, thanks for coming, hanging out, everybody. And yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, so stay tuned for the famous beet recipe. Okay, I better run, get things ready, and we'll catch up with you very soon. Thanks for coming, hanging out, and try this. It's super easy. I mean, we just made 2 dishes like within 20 minutes. It's awesome. Okay, we'll see you later.